Right now, I have to stop saying.
You really should. I mean, no, it's fine. It's funny that you keep doing it, but someone's going to get in trouble at some point. I don't know. What are we talking about? Look at this. The whole crew is here, back to back. Sean wasn't here yesterday. Hi, Sean. And it's time for us to get ready for a jam-packed pregame show. We've got Rope Hintz news. We've got Mikko Rantanen talk. Logan Stankoven update. And how many Petterssons? 3 on the same lineup. Stars and Canucks. Pregame show here on DLS starts right now.
Get ready, boys.
Well, we are trying again as the Dallas Stars play the second night of a back-to-back on their short trip through Western Canada. Usually when they go out there, they play Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, maybe Seattle now because the Kraken are in the league. Well, only doing 2. They waved at Calgary as they left Edmonton, went right out to Vancouver, a little back-to-back. The Canucks had the day off, so they're rested. And we'll get to see them play tonight alongside Craig Ludwig and Sam Nessler.
Squirrel.
That's right. That's you, Sam.
Hello.
Sean Shapiro is live via remote. Our satellite hookup is at full
You can't get
bore.
it to work. Sean's trying. He's trying.
Well,
it ain't
no, his
working.
screen's too narrow.
No,
you got to do it.
I'm just.
There
it
he
is.
is.
Hey-o.
And then, of course, our producer, John Anderson, is sporting a very interesting LA Rams shirt today. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's begin with the news of the afternoon/evening, because it is evening now. Guys, Rope Hintz will not play tonight. Flew back to Dallas. Sam, what was Pete DeBoer's update?
Yeah, as you said, went back to Dallas after going to the hospital last night. Obviously not playing tonight. Pete said they don't believe it's long term. He used the word long term for that. Called him day to day. So hopefully find out a little bit more. Not tomorrow, Tuesday when they plan to practice. And we finally get to meet Mikko Rantanen as well. But it seems like better news than the Marchments and the other ones we've seen with this team. And that's just the hope, is that this isn't a day-to-day Pete DeBoer that becomes a week-to-week and further with that.
I'm always curious. Where are they going from here? After
Home.
tonight's game?
They're coming back here.
Back to Dallas.
I'm always curious about why the player doesn't get on that plane and come home.
I thought the same thing.
But
why do you
it's
think he went back early? Just to get a head start on things?
Yeah, probably more observation.
Imaging?
Yeah, that would be my guess. I just think that if it's nothing, or it's clear, here's what it is.
Yes.
Hop on the plane with us. After the game.
That actually does raise a little bit of an eyebrow of, there was a part of what Pete said today when he met with the media availability was they're pretty sure it's not a fracture, but they didn't rule it out. They want to do some more imaging. Maybe that's why they sent Hintz back today, or maybe he flew back from Edmonton and didn't go to Vancouver. I mean, he might have gotten on the plane, but he was in the hospital up there. They certainly have equipment to look at things. So a lot of things, it's hard to speculate, Sean, about injuries like that. What we do know is no Rope Hintz today. And, well, the players post-game didn't sound the alarm of, it was pretty obvious when the New Jersey Devils were in town that they were really down about the news on Jack Hughes before it became official that he was done for the season with a shoulder injury. This doesn't feel like that, but there's still some concern because of all the facial injuries the Stars have dealt with this year.
Yeah, it's also Pete DeBoer saying day to day for a Finnish player. Just can we not make the joke about Jani Hakanpää is still technically day to day? I mean, Jani Hakanpää was day to day till the end, and is probably still day to day right now as we speak. I think the other thing just to take into account for Hintz that is a real possibility is if there's anything that's got to get done dental wise up there, like the Stars might have someone they want to handle the minor parts of this injury right away. Like that's the other part. There's a recovery portion. Maybe there's if there's if you need an oral surgeon to do something or anything like that, even if it's minor, well, let's have that done there. Let's have him recover in his own bed tonight. Like, I think there's a little bit of that. So I'm not overly concerned about him being on the flight back, especially since this isn't a long road trip and they're at home and they're returning home anyway.
I kind of look at this like when they had Miro, remember his first one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got this, but we're going to send him to, because I don't like what I heard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's for me, that's usually the way it's panned out. Like, yeah, we got this. We had our doctors look at him, but we're going to send him away to see a specialist now. And then, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the first doctor goes, oh, I kind of told you that's what it was.
Same thing.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that can suggest a different course of action to get me back in the lineup sooner? Nope. Okay. Then the first guy is probably right.
Just call Joe Rogan. He'll say stem cells.
Yeah, they'll get it just right
You
over.
guys, your friends over here.
Oh, Botox.
The good news is Mikko Rantanen made his debut last night, and he looked good. He had a goal and an assist. He looked dangerous. He instantly becomes the Stars' leader in goals, assists, and points on the season. And suddenly, guys, the Stars have 3 players in the top 30 in scoring. Rantanen comes into today tied with 10th, 72 points. Robertson tied for 21st, 65. And Duchesne tied for 27th with 64. There was a large chunk of this season where there were not any Dallas Stars in the top 30. Now there's 3, and a guy that will probably finish in the top 10 by the end of the year.
I took a poll today. That's a perfect segue.
I didn't even know.
Not non sequitur.
It is definitely not a non sequitur.
I took a poll today on Twitter, and I said, after this trade with Mikko Rantanen, who is the best overall player on the Dallas Stars? Who do you guys think was the winner of that poll? I had Miro, Miko, Wyatt, Robertson.
Wyatt.
Well, that's what you think, but what do you think the poll results were? Same?
Well, I mean, what's the new candy in town?
It's the new candy in town.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be Rantanen, right?
Yeah.
Miro Heiskanen, 34.6%. Wyatt Johnston, 23.3%. Jason Robertson, 5.7%. Mikko Rantanen, 36.4%. So barely Miko over Miro. I thought that was really interesting. I know Rope's there too. I didn't put him in there because it was too many two-way guys. I wanted to get Jason in there, but I just thought that was interesting to see because it's right. What you said is true. They have now a bona fide superstar and a couple of guys that are making their name like we thought they should have.
We always argued that Miro Heiskanen was deserving of being superstar status because he's that good, but he never has put up the kind of points, except for in a couple of playoff runs where the rest of the league is kind of noticing, gone, oh, wow, maybe he is that good. He hasn't stayed in that stratosphere like Rantanen has. So Rantanen has back-to-back 100-point seasons, 55 goals a couple years ago. Sean, we haven't had a chance to talk to you yet because you were not on the show yesterday, but we talked to you about it on the trade deadline show. What were your impressions of Mikko Rantanen's first game as a Dallas Star?
Yeah, so I was actually at my father-in-law's 60th birthday party last night, and I commandeered the television. And yes, this party was still going until roughly
boozing.
Midnight. So
you're kind of party lads.
He was boozing.
Didn't end early.
My wife's last name is McGinnis. The McGinnis family parties very much fit the Irish last name, by the way. So it was a fun evening. But I was able to commandeer the television and watch the hockey game, and it was. To me, I thought Robert Tiffin had a really good point in his write-up after the game where he said if Mikko Rantanen looks this good in a game where the Stars lost and they were figuring things out, that's got to be really scary for everyone else going forward. Because I thought he stepped in really well. We saw some of that instant impact that he can have offensively. Even with getting rocked a couple times, I think there was a little bit of a welcome to the team moment that the Oilers gave him where they were probably targeting him a little bit, which is fully fair play there. And I take a look at this where the Stars may have lost last night, but I take the long play here and the positives of where this is going, and you're like, this is why the Stars went and they traded Logan Stankoven. They were willing to mortgage part of the future, send all those picks because this is a guy that changes the dynamic. And there was, I think for me, one of the biggest telling points is I'm watching that game last night and he's got the puck on his stick in the offensive zone and it's a 5-4 game late. And I know they didn't tie it, but you're watching, you're like, I feel like there's a better chance that they're going to tie this game somehow because the puck's going to get to him. Yep. That is an element to me that this team has only had in spurts. They haven't had that on a night-to-night basis like Rantanen brings right now.
And Pete DeBoer said today in his pregame availability that until you see him up close, you don't realize, like, you know what he can do. You know he can score. You know he's got good vision, all that. But until you see him up close and see how many battles he wins and how many times he just comes out with the puck, makes a good little small play, and we saw it a couple times. Good back checks, good plays, sticking lane defensively. It's alarming to see, and I cannot wait to watch him in person.
Wyatt Johnston is on fire, guys. And I know that we've talked a lot about him. He just signed his extension, 5 years, $42 million. He's now extended his point streak to 9 games. He has 9 goals, 6 assists, and 15 points on that 9-game point streak. He has goals in 5 straight, 7 goals. If he scores again tonight, he will equal the franchise record for the longest goal streak by a player aged 21 or younger. There are 2 players that have 6-game goal streaks in their Dallas Stars / Minnesota North Stars history. Can you name them? Anybody?
Alex Chazon and Mike Modano.
Can we go with the obvious one?
Mike Modano's one.
I was going to say Tyler Seguin.
Tyler Sagan's not one. Remember,
gonna
Sagan
go
was
with-
not 21.
I just couldn't remember the
How about
age.
Was my Alex Chazon guess not right?
No, I'd
It
go
was
with
incorrect.
I'd go with
But
Zuby.
he had
before
he,
Nui.
he had a pretty hot because this is goal scorer.
6-game
Goal
goal
scoring.
streak.
goal streak.
There's only 2.
Is it
One-
recent at all, or is it
It is the modern era, not the Stanley Cup era.
the victory green?
UC Jokinen?
It's
That
actually
would be
Jamie
modern
Benn.
era.
We always should
Benn-
just say Ben.
So Jamie Benn had a 6-game goal streak March 1st through 11th of 2011.
Wow.
And Mike Modano did it from February 29th to March 10th of 1992. And if you remember that was still with the Minnesota North
I feel
Stars.
like we're sitting with Alex Trebek every week. At some point.
Most
There's
of the
always
time,
one
you
of
get him right,
Who's
by the
that?
way.
He's not with us anymore.
He was the host of Jeopardy for a long
I
time.
gotta watch more game shows. This is the second time I've been
Did
called
you,
out.
did,
on my
did you
knowledge.
did you really not know who Alex Trebek
I really
is?
and I didn't know.
Isn't that
It
sad?
says volumes,
That's
doesn't
sad.
it?
What's the other like really popular game
Wheel of
show?
Fortune?
No, like
Not that one. There's another one. I got
Really
made fun of on
popular-
Are
Friday.
you thinking of Bob Barker?
No,
Masked
no,
Singer.
no. Bob Barker, I know because
Well,
of
wait a
Happy
minute.
Gilmore.
No, hold on.
obviously.
You didn't know who the host of Jeopardy was. So when you say the other really popular game
Yeah,
show,
but now we got to go.
What does
into-
that mean?
Yeah, but this is like probably 3 years ago for him.
I don't know.
name that tune.
Bruce and someone else made fun of me Friday for not knowing who someone was, and I don't remember the show though.
Oh, we're gonna have to.
I'm gonna watch him.
We're gonna have to explore this because
I
I'm
will
dying
explore.
to know.
Press your luck.
No.
Let's make a deal.
Hollywood Squares.
You guys know too many game shows.
Are you
eh?
smarter than a 5th grader?
No, that'd be good though.
Travis
you wanna
Kelce
be a
lost that
millionaire?
I'm
shit.
gonna look it up. No, I actually watched that
I
one
watched
back
that.
in the day.
I watched that and
Whose
pause
line
it.
is-
When I
You guys
don't know
remember-
the answer.
you-
I go to my Google.
You guys
Maps.
remember who the initial host of Millionaire was?
I know this one.
We're off the rails already.
Picture his face.
It's Regis Philbin.
Yes.
Regis was the first host, and then they
Yes.
changed it. Meredith was the
Regis
host for a
and
really
Kelly,
long
eh?
time.
mhm.
It was a fun show. I like that, especially the phone a friend. We got to figure. We just rattled off like a dozen game shows, and you said no to all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wyatt
I
Johnston
just-
on fire.
Colts
What's
no, real quick,
The price
real
is
quick.
wrong.
Col- the-
Beep.
Okay.
Sean's not done with
the
this
Col-
topic.
deal or no deal?
Maybe.
You really don't.
I'll
know-
ask.
you
I'll
really
ask
don't
Bruce.
know-
He'll remember.
You really don't know who Alex Trebek is. This is just like a very random cultural touch point that I'm amazed you don't know.
You
And-
guys will, if you haven't already learned, live a very shelled life. I have about 5 interests, and I do all of those all the time.
Sean
I don't
Trebek.
do anything else.
Trebek is on the Mount Rushmore of
But you-
North American
but
game
you-
show hosts.
That's what.
Okay,
Jeopardy?
John.
You've never had a
Jeopardy.
You've never
John,
had a
I'm going to
you've never had
request
a-
something. Can,
You've never had a family
can
member?
we listen to Sean? Can you? You know how you make a fool of me all the time with the things I say. I want to
Like-
request a little bit of Sean as he's trying to get in. Like it's like what.
Yeah, but part of it's because he's baffled. He doesn't know what to say to
none
Sam.
of us ever shut up to let him in. That's why.
Well, that's because he's not
Technically,
here.
after the show, I can go and individually pull just the recording
Oh
of
my
Sean,
God, we have
so
to
I
see-
can get him
Oh, that would be-
babbling
it's just
over himself
jumping everywhere.
without your guys' voices.
It is hard because we're separated by technology. So you're not in the room where we can sense that you're
I'm
like
really separated from
clamoring
technology.
to jump in. Yes, you really are.
I'm separated from technology.
Have you ever taken a baseball bat to a fax machine before?
No, I treasure my bats. No way.
You wouldn't ruin a bat on a
oh,
fax machine?
no.
Okay. Well, up next,
I'm checking with my sources.
let's talk about the rest of our pregame show points, including the Vancouver Canucks and some other fun things, right here on the DLS Dallas Stars pregame show.
Not fair. You guys fluster me, and then I got to do a read. Let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper is the best fantasy platform out there, period. Put your ball or puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite player will have more or less in their projected stats each week. We are going to get into the picks for tonight, and they are some good ones in a moment here. But with Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app, use the code DLSstars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest. It doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Let's look at some picks. All right, tonight I'm going with Mr. Mikko Rantanen again to score a goal because I feel like he's just going to score in every game. That is a 2.4 times your money. Mr. line mate of Mikko Rantanen tonight, which we'll get into in a minute. I'm going to say Wyatt Johnston with over 2.5 shots on goal because that top line with Robertson, Rantanen, and Johnston is going to be on fire. That's 1.94 times your money. And then I had to go with a non-star for at least one. I was going to do another goalie, but I missed that one last night. So eventually, I really wanted to scroll. I was looking for something good. Got down to Brock Besser, Canucks forward. I have him, don't worry, not scoring. I have him just getting over 2.5 shots on goal. 2.47 times more than 2.47 times your money. Put it all together, you're looking at 11.5 times your money if they hit. Bam.
Sam, before we continue, I need to ask you a question because I will not break any boundary. Hypothetically, if someone you might be marrying at some point has a chat message.
No. This is a fair game. It's public record.
May we put it on the show?
Oh, he's afraid already. Luds.
Sure.
We've done it.
Don't ask Luds.
No.
Sure.
This is actually.
We don't have that segment yet.
We
already on the
asked
stream.
Luds. That's true.
Okay, that's fine. I thought it was going to be way worse than that.
Katie, a.k.a. the Samando's fiance, future Mrs. Samando, destroyer of toilets. I don't know if she wants. Does she inherit?
Is that how you guys met?
Does she inherit the titles?
Breaker of Drake. We could just do the same titles.
You
She
brought
wrote
this on
in
yourself,
the chat. I
Katie.
tried to get Sam to watch Jeopardy
This is your
before.
fault.
Come on, Sam.
She watches it a lot.
Well, we
So
certainly.
was that not the show?
It's not Jeopardy. He didn't
No,
know
it's
who the
not
host
Jeopardy.
was.
Well, there's a new dude doing it. Maybe that's what. You sure that's
Yeah,
not the one?
it's like if Owen left this show and then I made myself the host is what happened.
Which
with Jeopardy.
he's gunning for already.
No, I'm more of an America's Funniest Home Videos kind of guy.
That tracks entirely.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Family Feud?
I don't know. I asked Robert. He was the number
doesn't
one
even know if
person
he
who made
hears
fun
it.
of
He
me.
doesn't even know the game show. He can't think of the host he doesn't know.
Robert seems to think it was The Price is Right.
That would be
I
Bob Barker.
said-
I don't,
But it
but,
was
but he said he doesn't
Well,
know.
but
No, it's
that's-
Drew Carey.
Yeah.
Quick hot take. I like Drew Carey. I think he's really funny.
Nah, he's not
No,
Bob.
hold on.
This
As a
pregame
comedian,
show has
I
derailed.
think he's great at stand-up comedy. I thought on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He was funny. Bob Barker is vastly superior as a Price is Right host.
Drew stinks.
Yeah, as Price is Right host, Drew Carey. As comedian, thumbs up. Sean, what do you want to weigh in on?
I just think we should just talk about Whose Line Is It Anyway, because I feel like that's at least a show Sam would have seen at some point.
Hey, I have seen that show. Yes, that was funny.
See, like that's and Drew Carey
Can
hosted
you name
that one.
any of the cast members of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
No, I can picture all of them though.
That's great. Can't name one.
No, I can't.
Sean, your favorite? He's lost it.
What's
What's the one that was on Ray Romano?
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah,
That's an excellent
he
show.
was the
Yeah.
Big tall guy?
on Ray. Yeah.
Talking about big tall guy?
Yeah.
Brad Garrett.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah,
Brad Garrett. He played Ray's
no,
brother.
No, not,
You're
not
no,
talking
are you
about Robert?
Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
Talking about the old shows or the new ones? Because that guy, the big tall guy.
Hello,
on there
Ray.
too.
Hello, Raymond.
Yeah,
Ryan Stiles.
That's it.
He's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah, he was on Ray.
He and
Yeah.
Colin Mockery
And then-
were great.
Yeah.
Stars play the Canucks tonight.
All I can hear is Ray Romano's voice now. The second he gets brought up.
Okay.
The Stars play the Canucks tonight, Deborah.
He's the people used to get mad when I worked at the NHL office because Raymond was a sports writer but was always home for dinner.
Oh,
every
he was
night.
in his basement.
They were like,
never left his
"What
house.
job does he have?" That
Yes.
he's a full-time sports writer having dinner every
He'd
night
be in
with
his
his family.
basement yelling at his
I
wife.
mean,
Deborah, the
that's-
lemon pepper
that's-
chicken's not going to cook
that's-
itself.
I don't think freelance sports
Sean
writer
is
was a thing
literally
back then,
dunking
though.
on everybody, saying he's everybody.
that's-
loves
I don't
Raymond.
think that was
is
a
what
thing back in the day. I don't know if Substack was what he was working for.
Ray Ramone. Okay, Jamie Benn can do something pretty cool tonight if he does score a goal. Last night he scored his 399th career NHL goal. There's only 109 players in league history to score 400 or more. It would be really fitting if he did it tonight in his home province, and he would become just the second player in Stars franchise history to score 400 or more with the team behind Mike Modano. I know he scored more, but with Dallas, he had 557 career goals. Jamie Benn at 399. That'd be pretty cool to do it in Vancouver for Jamie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and this is one of those stats that I would like to look up when we talk about, or when I talk about Pat Verbeek, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But when you look at how many goals that Beeker scored, but more importantly, how many penalty minutes Beeker's had in his career too. So like with Jamie, when you think about the goals that he's scored versus those other players that are in that category, where he stands as far as having the most penalty minutes or fights, or however you want to phrase it, and goals.
I can do that for you in about 30 seconds.
Because he spent a little bit more time in the penalty box getting to those, during those 400 goals is the way I look at it.
Okay, so Luds, I'm doing a quick search, and we're going to sort by penalty minutes because it'd be too hard to do it on the show on the fly. For guys with 400 or more goals in their NHL career, Rick Tocchet, the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, number one in penalty minutes, 2,970. 65 minutes behind him, Pat Verbeek at number 2. Gary Roberts, 2,560 as number 3. Brendan Shanahan, Keith Tkachuk round out the top 5. And maybe surprising to some, number 6 is Mark Messier. A lot of penalty minutes, 1,912. Your buddy Billy Guerin is 10th in that category.
Wasn't Messier before? Was he the one that was most games played all time before Marleau broke it in the NHL?
1756 career games played.
Was he? Yeah. So it's because I know Jágr played more professional games, but I think it was because he spent
NHL games.
Yeah, but I think Messier there was a raw accumulation period too of games played for Messier there too. I think.
Boy, Luddy, you're making the Verbeek argument pretty well. I have to say, it's convincing. To score that many goals.
I've never heard his name mentioned.
522 goals, 2,900 penalty minutes. That's something. Let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Craig Ludwig, our very own show ambassador, has this clip he'd like people to see tonight, but we're not using a phone and a microphone. No. Put the phone down.
Hey,
we actually have a video.
I heard people couldn't tell the difference.
It actually sounded good. I will say that.
Sean's got his phone up. He's ready to go. All right, John, roll the clip.
I think about it a lot, and I'll just be honest. I haven't been the way I want to be this year. I haven't played the expectation I have on myself. The franchise have on myself or have on me. So I'll be the first one to tell you. But that's in the past. I just want to take these last 22 games plus more, hopefully, and play my best hockey. I wish I could. We had more wins. I wish I had played a lot better, but I can't dwell on that anymore. And just trying to look ahead and let's see what tomorrow is.
That clip had someone vacuuming in it.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, my phone thing on the mic was better than that.
You sent me that clip.
That was their audio. That was their audio.
Hold on.
Like I didn't do
You
this.
did it.
I'm
enraged. YouTube.
Focus. What do you
have
to say about that clip?
The purpose of that is I would be aware of Petey, EP40, because I think that was his first moment of stepping up to the plate and taking responsibility for his play, and then the whole thing that went on with JT Miller and all that kind of stuff. And then his last couple of games, he's been a different player. He's shooting the puck. He's had like 9 hits in his last 3 games or whatever it is. So I would just say, with some players that are missing, and there's other guys that are MIA. Besser's MIA, DeBrusque is MIA, but I think Peterson is kind of stepping up. I just give the kid credit. I mean, he is Sean, is he one of the top 4 or 5 in the league when it comes to salary? I mean, he's making $12 million a year. I think.
He's up there. Yep.
Yeah. So I just and he hasn't taken any. He basically wouldn't talk to reporters and everything else. And so I think he's and they're hovering around that playoff spot. So all I'm saying is it would be a guy that I would keep an eye on tonight for the Dallas Stars.
Well, and it's a big deal because since the JT Miller trade on January 30th, they have played 12 games. They're 6-5-1, slightly above 500. That's not probably going to get it done to make the playoffs. Although maybe Calgary, maybe St. Louis, Utah, they're all in that same boat. But Sean, their goals for in that span is 2.33 per game. That's going to be hard to make a playoff push if you're scoring under 2.5 goals a game in this NHL.
Yeah, and especially with how this team plays, you've got a bunch of question marks and things just seem to snowball with this team all year with Vancouver. Like, yes, they're above 500 in the last 12 games, you said, Owen. I guess technically only slightly above, but everything,
6-5-1.
Yeah, everything that can and will go wrong with Vancouver right now seems to do so at some point. And that just that seems to snowball offensively as well. And I look at this game tonight too, where it's, you gotta, Luds, I think another interesting kind of motivator, because players use this. One of the other deals on the table for Mikko Rantanen was Elias-Pettersson for Mikko Rantanen. That was a deal that I know for a fact that Vancouver reached out to Carolina to potentially make that deal. So there is Pettersson's there. He did not get moved, but part of him is going to be probably a little bit of an FU to everyone else of like, well, they thought they were going to try. I got to be better than this other guy who they thought they could bring in because I'm not cutting it. That I think is another emotional piece there.
Luds, I got to ask you about Quinn Hughes. Hughes is not playing again tonight. 3rd straight game, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9th game of the team's last 14 or 13. He hasn't played. Now, of course, around the Four Nations, we all know that he was injured and trying to deal with that. But this team, with this Vancouver Canucks team, with Quinn Hughes versus without him, is a night and day kind of scenario.
Yeah, they go from a dangerous team to just another team because he carries the mail. I mean, the things that he does are incredible, especially on the offensive blue line for me. I mean, he tap dances around that, up and down that blue line, and no fear of the puck being, knocked off his stick going the other way. So there's no question that he's the driver of that team. He runs that team by the way that he plays. He spends 25, very Miro-like, right? I mean, same kind of guys. I mean, I would say that he's Vancouver's Makar, so and I would say it's a treat when you get to watch Colorado and Vancouver play just because of those two guys.
I think it was Jeff Merrick, and he's not the only one that said it, but someone said if you watch Vancouver this year full-time and not just from afar, Quinn Hughes should be your MVP in the NHL because no one means more to their team than him, and that goes with what they just said. I mean, if you watch the teams, how they play, it is just crazy the difference when they don't have him.
All right, let's talk about line combos, Sean's favorite part. Sean, I want you to have the first reaction as we show you what the Stars are going to line up with tonight. The forward group, without Rope Hintz and Tyler Seguin, that's still a very deep and balanced forward lineup, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, again, watching Johnston and Rantanen again tonight. Obviously, they started, after Hintz left the game the other night, they started working together already. Looking forward to seeing that for a full game. And this is one of those games, too, where Blackwell comes back in, and this is where the Stars' depth continues to basically prove, hey, you can keep bringing in NHL quality players. So those are the two highlights for me right there.
And on top of that, just the fact that they didn't have to get rid of Bork and Stankoven in the trade for Rantanen means that they lose a center in Hintz, and they still have Bork there for that third line. Now, of course, Jamie Benn can play in the middle. Oscar Beck can play in the middle. You can move Sam Steele up.
Granlund.
Granlund can play. They have so many options. They're in good shape that way. And the only concern is a second night of a back-to-back with travel, not so much the talent up there. Now let's look at the defense. Same group. Brendan Smith continues to be the scratch. Luddy, we saw a dicey moment for Lyubushkin last night, but it's Connor McDavid, and guess what? Everybody looks bad against Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I would say every time any defenseman that's a 4-5 and down, it's dicey.
It's not fair.
Yeah, especially when McDavid is playing McDavid kind of hockey, which unfortunately for Dallas, he was getting closer to that last night.
Are you surprised? I guess I shouldn't say that. If Brendan Smith was a right shot, do you think he's in tonight instead of Matt Dumba?
Did you see where I had him?
Did you have him in there?
I had him underneath Blackwell.
I'm just wondering if they're just
As an
if
extra
they
forward?
know that this.
Yeah, I just
Like they know
Possible.
who they're going to rely on in the playoffs. If Miro comes back, one of those guys will be out, but they still are going to need those defensemen. I'm wondering if they're just pushing those guys to play as many games as they can.
All right, take a look at the Vancouver D and forwards. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to ask Luds a question about something
That's
else.
Sean right there. That
Go ahead.
Sean right
Go,
there.
Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
Luds, when you were when you were playing and it came to if you had a goalie who was playing against his old team, what was the conversation about, hey, he knows who he's playing against, but there's also the flip side of, so like Casey DeSmith tonight, right? He's playing against his old team, and you could say, oh, he knows what they do in practice. At the same time, they've seen all of Casey's flaws and know exactly what to look for. I'm just curious if when you played, if you could think of any examples of playing with goalies or anyone like that who kind of, you kind of saw that play out firsthand there.
Which one was that, Sean?
For Casey DeSmith, like DeSmith played played for Vancouver, so you could be like, oh, he knows everyone on Vancouver. He's got the leg up. On the flip side, it's an entire locker room of guys that practice with him, probably know how to pick, like just like Jason Robertson and Scott Wedgwood. I remember talking to Jason Robertson about how whenever he plays Scott Wedgwood, he knows how to pick holes on Scott Wedgwood. So I'm curious of your thoughts on that as a player when it comes to a goalie maybe playing against his old team.
Ex-teammate.
Yeah, you know, I mean, as team when they were teammates, I thought you were more talking about when the backup guy gets in there. not necessarily that.
We talk about that all the time, but it's more so
I know.
Just
I think you just run them.
Yeah,
just take a run at him right away. Have somebody.
Wow,
yeah.
Just take him out. Let's look at
accidentally on purpose. You know what I mean?
Let's take a look at the Vancouver Canucks lineup.
No friends.
Here's the bit. That's Elias-Pettersson, number 1, aka Thing 1. He is the number 1 center, especially now with JT Miller gone. Luds, it's a Dr. Seuss reference. Hold on.
Could be Spider-Man too.
I know who he is.
Okay. There's Thing 2. Elias-Pettersson, number 2, playing especially with the absence of Quinn Hughes. And then, of course, they acquired Marcus Pettersson. So there are 3 Petterssons in the lineup tonight. I know this is going to be a tough one for Josh and Razor on the broadcast to try to delineate between which of the 3 Petterssons, including one who has the exact same first name. So you can't even say Henrik and Daniel Sedin like they used to do. You have to say Elias 1, Elias 2, or just call him EP40.
EP40.
I think someone said they were calling him the forward and the defenseman.
Right.
Like passes it over to the defenseman.
I would do.
On a serious note, look at the forward group again for the Canucks, and you compare that in all seriousness to the Stars lineup tonight, even with Hintz and Sagan out. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know who Letterkenny is up there, and I have no idea who he is. I've never heard of him. So that, but again, you look at where DeBrusk and Besser are. They're down on the third line, and that's kind of it doesn't mean that's where they're going to play all night long, but that's supposed to be between EP40, DeBrusk, Besser. Those are the guys that have to carry that team offensively, especially now when you're missing Hughes. So when they're not going, that's why this team is hovering where they are.
We have Drew O'Connor's from Chatham, New Jersey, my hometown. And then remember when P.O. Suter was apparently going to be a Dallas Star?
Well, there were rumors.
A week ago?
Yeah. Sean, any thoughts about the Canucks before we wrap this one up and get ready for the game?
No, Owen, you're the guy who's actually done play-by-play professionally. What would you do if you had the Pettersson predicament tonight? I've
had ones where I've had different first names, and you just have to say the full name. I never really liked how the Canucks guys would do Daniel instead of Daniel Sedin, but that's more of a personal preference. The full name being identical, at least it's on the same team. Maybe the forward, the defenseman, Pettersson the D, Pettersson the forward would help, but it's tricky and it's very rare. So I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But at least it's on the same team. To me, the hardest one was there were 2 guys playing. It was one of our biggest rivals. We had David Burgess on the Adirondack Ice Hawks, and Trevor Burgess was on my Elmira Jackals. And one was a forward, one was a D, and they seemed to be on the ice at the same time. So I just said full names. But when there's 2 identicals, boy, you really, it's tricky.
Do they both have like the E. Pettersson now on their jersey? Because like now with Marcus Pettersson, they have. Do they go first initial now, or
I think with the Elias ones, it doesn't matter because if you put E, there's
the same. You can't put literally can't put anything. It's the exact same name.
There were 2 twin brothers that played for Boston University long time ago when I was younger. It was Mark and Mike Bavis, and one of them, I believe, was tragically killed in the 9/11 flights, I believe. But they actually had, because they were M. Bavis, they had Mark and Mike written out in full on the back of their name bars. But you can't do that with Elias and Elias. So
do they have? This is where you need middle names, right? You just you got to go.
They're probably the same.
What their middle names. They're probably the same.
Well, look for it tonight because Victory Plus Stars, right? Victory Plus. I don't even look tonight.
Yes.
Bing bang.
Oh, we have a super chat.
Let's
Michael
just
Moore
stay
changed his
here all night.
profile photo again.
Let's put the game. Oh
Yeah, let's just stay here all night.
Michael
Chat.
Moore with a new profile picture.
Heiskanen
It's
99
so
from
small.
Michael Moore. My sleeper for tonight, Robo 2 shots, Miko scores, and Casey over 22 saves, and Brock to score. Brock
Excellent.
Besser.
Those are
So that's a 4-parter. Michael, I am now expecting a post-game super chat with your
parlay that?
updates
We
to
should
see if you
instead
could.
of me doing the post game read, it should just go to him, Michael, and he just gives
Well,
us.
you'd
the
have to
post-game.
read it, but yeah, but you don't have to do
You
a
guys
post
should have a
game.
No, I
competition.
meant like you know what I mean.
You should have a battle.
You should, Sam.
okay.
Step up.
I have
Step
a
up to
beef
the
with
streets.
I have a
That's the
beef right now.
sequel.
I know what
here,
it
guys. So Elias Pettersson's first name is not Elias, the forward. Elias Pettersson, the forward, his full name is Frederick Elias Pettersson. He goes by his middle name.
They
When
should
you
have
acquire no, he should go. He should have to be Frederick. When you acquire
You'd be
someone
F.
else,
Patterson. That sounds very
he
derogatory.
He should be Frederick Elias Pettersson, and then
I'm already upstairs sitting on the couch.
and
I
then-
should have known.
then the defenseman, which is fitting for Dallas Stars fans here. His middle name is Nils Elias Nils Pettersson. So
I'm telling you, we should just stay here.
So it should be Frederick
Yes.
Pettersson and Nils Pettersson.
Or he could do the initials
easy.
F.E.
Yes,
Pettersson,
yes.
E.N. Pettersson.
Let's watch the game.
Thanks, everybody. Post-game show right after this one. And I promise you, we will try to get to the bottom of this ridiculous game show nonsense.
Oh, we're back on
You've
that.
got 2.5 hours to figure it out here on DLS.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.